2. Salt is on the land's low parts. You see it when the plains carry you into that nothing that loves you. Salt's pretty in the light now, prettier than trees. The beautiful boys and girls with their Velcroed shoes. And a man takes his key from his pants, scratches his initial into plexiglass, an A like a house been condemned. He's 24 and done for. You know him from the news. He's got hay in his heart and did to them what I cannot write, not in this, a beginning. You, sweet compass, are about violence, which I can't. At the pool, the boy in camis reads an encyclopedia of weapons. Black Widow, custom AK-47, Johnson semi-auto, Colt, 1937 Supermatch. His sister grins through water in her swimming class. B. I've been thinking about what I can't look at. School shootings, can't Google it, can't write it into the little space to see what comes up. I'd rather see that prostitute's ass as she bends over for the suicidal actor on TV. There's a mandala, a chess set, a Viking helmet, a parasol, a dog, sugar daddy, to stuff into the space from where the voice would emerge that says, nothing in this world is going to adhere to me. Not one thing will make one bit of difference. I am a free and unencumbered hand. This is number 8. I pushed my face into the air beside the river. I broke that air with my face. My face was hard, like an erection, and from my face an emission of sound. It shattered that bit of cold air that was hanging there above the water like an irresponsible bird, not caring for its own unity. It let me break it, let me even more ruin it. My face was not proud of this, not proud, nothing, just did it, and kept walking. That broken, cold air fell behind me, soundless because dead. This is number 10, this is fire. Earliest stars, like princes with ponies. Evening snow unworries the branches. I like women in white dresses, the just married look, breasts tight. I said, I've used up my bonus points, spent my rewards, I've maxed out my cash attack, can't drop my kids in the rubber breakfast playground and go to the nature store, can't click on One Stop, can't drive by. What's more abstract than snow? Especially now, it means nothing. The wind came up and drove that ghost back into the ocean. Standing by the window, whitened street below, something lights, quiet, the sky. Fire 2. Lamp holder, I'm not dangerous. Let fire in Wendy's, not me, that wasn't me. That was my brother, my gorgeous going nowhere friar. Put his hands in the river and pulled out a passage. River water boiling. Fat and named dumber, he lumbered the grocery aisles like one whose body wore him out. Oranges, chips, bars, nuts eyed him from their posts. So some of this comes from events that were happening in the news and around Colorado during the time I was writing it. That one was just referencing a murder in a Wendy's. I don't think it was Colorado, but you might have heard about it. This one is, it comes from an email, and I asked lots of friends and acquaintances, not so much acquaintances, but people I knew, to send me stories of violence that they had experienced and that they wouldn't mind seeing in a book. And then once I used some of these stories, I did check back and make sure that they still didn't mind seeing them in a book. So this is one. And it's an email from a person, not the real name, named Steve Nelson. That's the name I gave him. West. The West is so mean and Texas is the worst. Next comes Colorado. I come from a very rough place, but you never heard a girl or a kid or an old person. I'm not saying it never happened, but it was shameful. When I was about 50, I had a girlfriend, about 25, a situation made for disaster. When her brother bludgeoned both their parents to death while they were sleeping in their quiet suburban home in one with a bowling pin, one with a golf club, I had to bring her the news. A friend heard it on the radio. We were just splitting up, I think, because she was having premonitions as to what was going to happen. Her brother had just gotten out of jail for petty robbery. He copped a plea to avoid the death penalty. I was at the trial, and is now serving 2 consecutive lifetimes, no parole at. She immediately hooked up with another guy called Killing the Messenger, I believe, and never spoke to me again. Private story, well, everyone that knew me then knows it, but I have a hard time. 20. Out of the cradle, endlessly shameful, out of the rocking the mockingbird's throat, bludgeoned the musical shuttle, out of the parents, the child from bed, wandered alone, bareheaded, barefoot, wider than the sleeping suburban, the showered halo, sky, one with a golf club, one with the shadows, side by side and blue to blue, twining and twisting as if they were alive. Brother and sister, memories of birds, your memories, sad brother, of sickness and love. The one the other will absorb as a child repeatedly the thence aroused words. As syllable for sound the scene revisits. Private story, a little boy, the one the other will include. But I have a hard time, and you beside. 21, note spat, note unfolded, note torn from the lap of myself. I'll read just one more from this book. It's a little bit longer. Consider this. Consider this. What is violence? The narrowest hinge between lovers and lamps, trash cans and trains, music and muscle, between pillow and plan, weed and wretched. Get this, people, there's nothing wrong with a little defense, no reason to be ashamed of sticking up for yourself. Stems of leaves slip into the gutter, in and out, and the light bulb drinks fire until sunrise. Short stem of morning. What wrong with him? Just walk away, but walk away quickly. Consider hot days in the project pool. Lucky because we had carpet and Coke. A woman's breasts are an upside down heart. Not at all. We were not at all safe. He wanted to liquefy the self's solidity within the body of another. Because where else? Wind, consider it. It's coming from the west. It's carrying a factory smell. We did not know whether, after passing out in the alley, they recovered. Rum in the Coke bottles of 12-year-old boys. What is penitent? What kind? Dazzling and tremendous? How quickly the sunrise would kill me if I could not now and always send sunrise out of me. This crewless ship stalled in the shoal. What a project. It's an echoey stairwell. What is well? What wet? The race riots of childhood, the projects of broken. Here's a wander site, dump dogs and boyfriends with bruises and boils, pimples and penises, light bulbs drink in corners and causeways, smoking children, dirt bike riding children, copulating children, children with their pants down, children with their feet bruised, with their hair a mess, eating children, children in school but hiding, in school but running, in school but can't reach, cars with children and houses with children and dumpsters enough. Return. honeysuckle and candy bag, and the window drinks not impatient, the body is cut, the body is steering. Consider the man fingering his cock, slow driving alongside us. What's wrong with him? Dump dogs and boyfriends asking directions. Consider the disdain of 12-year-old girls, our huffy walk home. What is violence? Nodding out on a borrowed couch, what we didn't get then, we do get now. Memories tutor one another. We were not at all safe. Consider harm, not what animals do, the fire-ass monkeys, slow-trunked elephants, decorative zebras, meaty lizards, adjective noun, get the pain out of the hand and put it on the page. Tenderly, be not impatient. Strong is your hold, O mortal flesh. Strong is your hold, O love. Drink not impatient, the body cut. What hand of the man so wild in the kitchen? Not at all, we were not at all safe. Moments of, what is a zebra? What is a meerkat? What is a baby blinking and wrapped? Not at all safe. What is my son? All right, I'll shift gears for a couple minutes, 5. This is a book that, as Brian said, I wrote during this time when this sort of weird moment in my life when my mother was in the advanced stages of Alzheimer's, and I was pregnant with my third baby daughter. So I was felt to be very much in this place between, very aware of the edges of existence, basically. And I started writing from there, and these 3 forms introduced themselves to me, and one was to write poems that I just called lines for this and lines for that and lines for another thing. And these poems, I was thinking of the lines as kind of having a life of their own, each line being a unit of thought or of music, and not necessarily connected to the line that came before or after, though they do. And then I wrote some poems that I called abstracts, where I was interested in the sonic relationships among the words, and these were written in prose form. So mostly thinking of sound. And then finally, some fragments. So I'll read a little bit of each of those. This is Landlocked Lines. There were people behind closed doors, people on the other side. A specter haunting, now hidden, now fled. Under the firmament, above the firmament, and so on. Plastic cup, plastic tooth, nipple, phone, call me. I was filming a movie, but my brother took my camera and broke it. Then he fell on his face and laughed into the snow. Zebra and xylophone, cyclone and sorrow. Before they lay down, the men of the city circled the park. Circled the park, the park, the park, circled the park. Stood before the door, holding the wrapped infant, and I was writing a poem in the alley. A woman came, hovered near, asked for my pen. I gave it up. Shrugs away our hands, our mother in the bath and the garden. The music is not great because, she said, because of the sadness, she said. Primate and psyche, umbrage and rag. It can refer only to itself or to the objects that surround it, lamp, table. It would be absurd to imagine the absent person in the margins of the book. Red couch, red wall behind. The birds are inside the trees, now the first one and the second one. Giraffe and guest, honor and hunt. Then she gave up her spirit, but couldn't get out. Conception fragment. Daylight and tree buds, petro, detritus and dust. What's winged in the open of your pregnancy? Waiting abstracts. Consider the weight of the face, the river at 6, at 7. Safe and safer in courtyards and carpets, she's semblance of balance. what was her. Said the lipstick and wig, go walk with that chill in your mouth, go talking on cells and on landlines. Go empty the pan and the pen, empty at 6 and empty at 7, bed is at 8 and darkness at 9. Empty at waking and empty at walking, a sheet of shade under that van. A sheet of shade and a buildup of calling, a bigger buildup of cells. Consider the exit 19, its trees till its cables, then Applebee's and babies. Comes cupped in paper, my intake, I'm often exhausted in stores. What's drifting or drinking in rivers looks oily, the quivery light of the sun. I'm speaking of mouths, of chairs, meds, laps, of Bibles and plush and bile and bills. Like nothing that comes from the cry in the wall, like nothing the ghost out the side of my head. A woman who hangs with biblical figures can't speed her departure, her anger is still firm. Piled up bedclothes, it looks like they lost one. It looks like they lost one. There's nothing but waiting. There's nothing but waiting. Nothing but waiting and meals. Western Wind, an ode. This is not one of those three forms. One's mother's brain's like one of those egg sacs that lists by slack waves of seaweed and gold prints, still speaking abundance found washed up to rotting wood of a trap. Trees without leaves and dogs without leashes, shimmering wheels of company cars, the bodies a hole through which other bodies move. Sarah. I should have said, the book is named Sarah, not because that's my mother's name, which it's not, but because Sarah is in the Old Testament the first mother of the Jewish people. Sarah Prosopopeia. I lost the words for what I most cared about until, uncaring, I fell asleep in a chair and walked, one shoe on, one shoe off, holding a hand but whose, seeing out a window but what, and no one could find my other. Two more. This is Grief Abstracts. Grief Abstracts. Flit and click of the clock. Rim of my wrist in the sum of the light, by which trill of bird answer as might. A word turns in a thought, while a foot's in the literate belly, timed, measured, kissed. Mired in rhyme, I rise and am two, a ruse or a wraith, doubled, I see the hedge of the sky with the edge of my eye, the face of my kind with my mind. The doubled woman is a common thing, nothing more common than this slide of myself from one to two to none. Something to something more to nothing then, and the nothing that my maker becomes contains me as a space does, a bit of air, flawlessly and firm. Grief of fire in its final flash and smolder, the weight of her speaks sparks, brief ire, become ash, become ruinous food full of dolor. To recall her laughter is to grow older. Fears rife in this filial order. If molded, I'm fodder for air and I'm colder. Since I lost her, I stored her like ore in my form, as if later I'd find her, restore her. Slow and ready rising, grief draws similes, slides over for intrusions of likeness, berry, bush, clay, beaded wire, bread torn for toddler. Bored grief wards a rose bloom by the door, gravity suffices as thought. Thoughts grafted or scratched as a plant or a lens, sad thought, assiduous in its pursuits, beating devotion into the body as a small and forced, wary focus. This is the last poem in the book and the last one I'll read. Thanks again, you all, for your attention. Lines to Scatter. A perfectly themeless piece of language fallow in the lap of the wave was love, like a lemon does, silent, self-charged, struck with sun. Buses move by, baseline steadies, the biker's heartbeat secure. Some fly or rat, some untoward creature peeling the wrappers in the rank dark wakes us. Our bet is with the wind, in the wind, of wind, ripped. Without memory, there's no appearance of now, no way or where for now to emerge, no government, no travel. A dog on the metro, muzzled. And they, destined to shine like the brightness of the firmament, forever and ever, they. Thanks.